Hello and welcome to the future of the world. This session is interesting because this is probably the only session where kids are going to moderate themselves. So, in fact, another interesting part of it is that all the kids who are joining us today, they're all part of Davos worldwide for quite some years. They've been here, they've done multiple panels together. And today, what we are doing is that today, what they would be doing is discussing among themselves the future of the world when it comes to policy making, when it comes to politics, when it comes to international relations, when it comes to diplomacy, when it comes to technology. So, over to Zach Sangeet, over to Kushal, over to everybody else present over here. And Michelle, wonderful to see you again.
Same. Thank you.
Um, Zach Sangeet, take the lead and start the conversations, and you can, all the rest of them can pick it up from there. Over to you guys.
Good evening. My name is Zach Sangeet. I'm one of the world's youngest historians and the author of the history book series World History in 3 Points, published by Hachette, and Hidden Links, published by Penguin in 2024. I am the youth ambassador for Kektil, and I'm absolutely honored to be here. Uh, Over to Michelle.
Hi, welcome. Thank you, Zach. Very impressive. I actually would love to read your book. Um, well, I'm happy to be here today and to hear what you guys have to say. Kushal, I don't know if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then Jacob.
Hello, everyone. My name is Koshal Rametra. I am a senior in high school, and I'm trying to be an aspiring dentist. I am currently working on a research paper on stem cell regrowth in teeth and the use of AI in dentistry. Thank you all. And now to Jacob.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Jacob Cooper and I'm a sophomore in high school. Thank you, Mr. Anand Singh, the moderator and the organizers for the invitation to participate again this year. So great to be back. It's great to see my fellow panelists again. I'm an avid filmmaker as well in high school.
I think that's amazing. Kushal, AI and dentistry, I'm definitely curious about your vision behind that. And then Jacob, of course, um, with film, and are you exploring AI with film?
Yeah, recently I'm writing a persuasive essay on how AI will like kind of affect the film industry in the future.
Any current updates on what you might have discovered so far?
I've just discovered that like with the fast progression of AI that the film like a lot of producers and studios will start relying on AI and it eventually will lack human originality. And there's a lot of copyright and international property rights like involved with that.
I definitely think there's a deeper topic behind that one. I definitely want to send it back over to Kushal about AI and dentistry and what your vision is behind that.
With AI and dentistry, I feel as though there's a lot of potential in terms of helping out with scanning, especially with AI's vast general knowledge. If you are able to put in multiple X-rays and scans, you would be able to show a more confident and comprehensive uh, symptom list based on if you have cavities or any slight differences. In addition, it would also make work easier in terms of billing and just finances in general. And due to its fast work and almost infinite knowledge, it would be able to help efficiently um, help the offices and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And you start to think about mobility too, right? How health, digital health can also communicate remotely, right? As we go to see the doctor in person, but how technology can support our ability to communicate outside of the doctor's office, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially in places where people can't really reach dentists, especially since from the research I've been doing, there's only about 20% of people who go to see dentists in the 6 to 12 months that is recommended. And there's also places that just don't have proper offices near them where they would be able to get diagnosis. So they would be able to use any machines or new AI that comes out to give themselves a better chance of knowing what they have and what treatments they need to get.
Absolutely. Going back to you, Zach, especially being a youth ambassador, can you share with us a little bit of what you're seeing, some of your vision, and some of the direction you'd like to see our generation, the youth generation, evolve?
Yeah, so as I've been noticing now, especially being a 14-year-old, and a lot of my friends are gaining increasingly shorter attention spans, especially because of the internet. And I want to see the youth evolving to a stage where the previous generations have never been before, especially since since centuries, in fact, where we're developing newer skills rather than the industrial revolution's education system has practically made us into a set of workers who are just meant to follow the system. But I have a vision for the youth in which we contribute more to our society. We use our critical thinking skills. We use AI tools to be able to change the world in terms of diplomacy, in terms of international relations. So yeah, hoping our world goes in a direction, in a youth-led direction like that.
Beautiful. Um, and from what I understand, you guys know each other behind the scenes here. Do you guys actually talk about shared collaboration, how you guys would like to work together if you had the opportunity to build something? What does that collaboration look like for you? And anyone who might want to go first. I'm gonna pick on you, Kashal. um, Go ahead.
I feel like collaboration between many different areas, especially between like us youth, would need to be necessary. Is to go back to actually the topic that Zach just talked about. I feel as though we need to, as a total, talk about our use of social media and what we really prioritize. Because as a person who also has friends and f even family who has children, I feel like our society itself has grown to be attached to screens all the time and social media, and as a whole, we need to kind of back away from that, especially because, as Zach said, our attention spans are at an all-time low, and it's really affecting a lot of people.
I definitely agree with that, and I personally feel that having more human interaction, whether you're outside, gardening, for example, getting hands in the dirt, to playing a sport, basketball, or even to Jacob's point with film, kind of bringing the human element and that, traditional creation of making something from scratch, and kind of having that human, existential existence while also leveraging technology. So, how would you see the balance in the future if we were to still work with technology? What does that look like from a human engagement level? And what do you think the percentage ratio could potentially be that that could actually benefit the coexistence of technology, especially for like digital health or even film creative production, but also from a geopolitical perspective, while maintaining human interaction and engagement.
Yeah, I completely agree with Kashal. I feel like it's easy for our generation to adapt to changes, but I also feel that we need to be cautious of like the negative effects of the new like fast pace of how fast technology is progressing. And I feel that, as you said, AI is it's a complement, not a substitute. That we shouldn't fully rely on it, but it should be more as like a tool and a learning device to help us in our research and what we do.
To add on to that, I feel as though to, as I said before, AI really should be used in creating a better efficiency for people who don't know like how AI works. If we completely rely on AI, at some point there's no new information that's going in. AI relies on our writing, our research, anything that we find, that's what it uses. And really, AI is more of, at this moment, a search engine. It's something that people should use to compile research instead of to be just doing everything and really not doing anything themselves. And in addition to that, I feel as though, especially in school these days, as a high school student, I see a lot of people who really aren't trying to enhance their own learning because AI can really be used as not only a tool for efficiency, but also a tool for education. It by itself is a teacher that can change and adapt to your own different needs and understandings, and it really can help people from anywhere, even like if you aren't able to go to school or if there's anything going on, you still have something with a vast knowledge that can help you out throughout that time.
I absolutely agree with that as well. And it goes back to the old-fashioned pick up a book and read it type of mindset. And Zach already wrote one, so we should pick that one up. I would like to introduce Talia. She just joined us. So Talia, hello, welcome. And would you like to say a few words and introduce yourself? Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, my name is Talia. I'm from England and now I live in France. Sorry, I just joined.
Yes, of course. No, welcome. We were just exploring a little bit with technology and discussing some of our viewpoints on how we might want to see the world between human interaction and technology.
In the future, I th I'd like to believe that AI will be monitored more closely, and yeah.
I definitely agree with you. I think there's a lot to talk about when it comes to ethics and making sure that we are managing how we develop and design tools and integrate them into society. Talia, can you let us know a little bit, maybe something about your passions, what you're working on? Thank you again for being here today.
I like to read, and right now I'm trying to write my own book.
That's exciting. Zach actually just published his in 24. What are you writing about? Anything exciting?
Not really. I'm just planning out the storyboard now.
Oh, there you go. Well, I think that's a wonderful direction, and I look forward to hearing more once you have more of it written. Well, I want to open the floor again to everybody about, I guess, just if you want to talk about a little bit more on your view and vision of something that older generations fundamentally might be missing, and what do you think we could communicate to them that we think might help them understand a different perspective on how we how we want to experience the future.
Real quick, I just want to go back to what Thalia said about AI and its openness to people and how it really shows. In AI, I feel as though there's not really any accountability and there's nothing showing where it's coming from. It's really a sort of black box in terms of how to trace it back, in terms of you can't trace any of the information back, and sometimes, of course, AI is wrong. And therefore, I feel as though we need to have AI be more transparent, and even that might also help our older generations. And going to that, I feel as though with the technology increasing exponentially recently, especially in the past maybe 5, 6 years, we need more user-friendly or informational uses for AI that our elderly or people who don't really have a grasp on how AI works. As my grandmother, she never had anything called a phone when she was young. And now suddenly she has a phone, a computer, a TV, AI, everything around, and really it's overwhelming and nothing is able to be truly known about it. So I feel like we really need to include accessibility or just any informational options.
And adding on to Koshal, I think the way that the older generations and even we are using AI right now as a tool is not completely in the correct way it should be used in terms of take for example the educational system, which has been evolving alongside mankind and civilization since the dawn of civilization for that matter, until around the industrial revolution a few centuries back, where it completely stopped and it's still stuck at that same stage in pedagogy, where all students, regardless of their learning capacity, regardless of which subjects they're interested in, regardless of which skills they have, regardless of their speed of learning certain concepts, they're all stuck in the same classroom, learning at the same speed, learning the same thing. And I think if we take AI with its advanced analytical tools, it should be able to make our education system, for that matter, pair up with the speed and with the ideas and with the skills of each specific child. So I think the way that we're using AI, again, as Kushal said, not merely as a research tool, but we're using it to solve all our problems, but at the same time, no problems. So I think we should really change our perspective on how we use AI.
Jacob, do you have any additional comment to what Kashal and Zach were saying?
Yeah, I kind of want to bring up a similar point to them about how AI is a very like it could be used as a dangerous weapon and there's some dangers to it. For example, I feel that in the future there could be a lot of job losses. Using AI, it heats up the planet, wastes a lot of water to cool the AI. And what I've noticed is in high school, it's killing a lot of creativity in my like fellow peers and myself. We're becoming a little too reliant on it. And as I said, I feel like it should be a complement and not a substitute. There was a job report by Goldman Sachs in March 2023 that stated of 300 million knowledge works jobs that will be replaced by AI of the 1.2 billion knowledge worker jobs, which is honestly huge in the near future. And I feel it's a very big risk and danger, and that we need to regulate it and find, as Kashan Zach said, a better way to use it than what we are currently using.
Talia, did you have any additional comments in addition to what they shared?
Just adding on to what Jacob said, and what I said earlier, AI needs to be monitored a lot more closely, and because people are becoming much too dependent on AI, it's slowly stopping our own brains from working. In fact, I was just doing a project in humanities in groups, and one of the groups used AI to write their whole project. And the fact was, they didn't even know what they were supposed to be doing. and there are younger kids out there, and they don't know how to distinguish between AI and reality, and so they're getting fooled into believing something that doesn't happen because AI is getting scarily good at generating images of human faces.
Very, very good points with all of you guys. So we do have just a few more minutes before we wrap up here. I want to give the floor to each of you again, just to kind of share a little bit of maybe more of the idea of what that future really looks like for you. And also, I think you each kind of brought something up where it sounds more like a mindset, right? Whether it's generational, whether it's your grandmother or children in school who are learning at the same time and bringing accessibility. But it also, to me, it sounds like how we perceive and understand who we are as humans and how we then engage with technology and what we can leverage from it versus allowing it to replace our own way of thinking. So if you can, each of you just go ahead and share maybe an idea of the future you would like to experience, and we'll wrap it up from there. Thank you. Tilly, I'll let you go first since you came in last.
I think my idealistic future, I think it would be a place where students can learn no matter where they come from or what kind of economy their country has, and where learning is adapted to each student's capabilities and their learning type. Because I've seen a lot of students go through schools and go in as young kids, because I have 8 cousins. So I've seen them come in, and then and then now my cousin and a lot of other kids I know, they're slightly less creative since they've gone into school, and their imaginations have kind of been watered down a lot.
Zach, would you like to go next?
Yes, I wish to see a future in which our world is steadily progressing in terms of all aspects, especially in terms of diplomacy, in which the world can come together and make solutions, whether it's for AI, whether it's for climate change, whether it's for biodiversity. And I also want to see a world where we don't lose our, like Talia said, where we don't lose our imagination, where we don't lose our critical thinking skills, where we don't lose our skills to see through the blurry lines and have our everything taken over by AI. So yeah.
Kushal, and then Jacob.
I believe that the future I want to see is somewhere where medicine or medical advice could be reached by anyone. And that's really my point of doing my study, where we would be able to hold um, any symptoms or anything and really tell people what they have and get them the help they need, in addition to also allowing generations and generations beyond to get AI and use technology to help them learn more. As Talia said, I also have, well, a bunch of young cousins, but specifically I have a couple of young cousins who really are just stuck on their iPads, and they're stuck on the screens all day, and really they don't have much human interaction or um any creativity really in them anymore. And I feel as though the next generation, if we don't really strain away from using AI for everything, but only using it for necessary things, for teaching, for learning, we really will be going down a darker path than what I would like to do.
My ideal future is where AI will solve our world's problems. So, for example, homelessness is a huge problem right now. I know the UN estimates over 1.6 billion people live in inadequate housing. I feel like if we rely on AI AI could be a super useful tool to help solve homelessness, energy allocation, and help, as what Zach said, help with diplomacy as well.
I love it. I would be happy to live in your future, and I hope that we can actually build that together. Thank you guys so much for participating on our youth panel. Thank you, Davos Worldwide, and I hope we can continue collaborating. Thank you.